Okay, we're back about 45 minutes later. As you can see over here, I removed that, put it on the 3D printed part. I'll put a link to this part in the description down below. I'm letting the, here, let's go over to this side. I realize it's kind of dark in here. Oops, we still plugged in? Okay. I'm not sure. Maybe, let me turn on the light on this thing. See if that helps. So here are the parts draining back into the tank. I don't really want to rush the draining process. But then again, let's see how much of a mess we can make. Got this tank ready to be able to put the whole build plate in so I can clean it off on there. I've got, this is the anti-cubic cleaning washing station type thing. It's sitting here. I haven't put any alcohol in it yet or any alcohol in here yet. Not really sure what procedure or anything. I'm going to put on these very inexpensive gloves because I know I'm going to make a mess here. Okay. I don't know if I make a mess, it's more or less contained, right? Because I haven't done this before, I don't really know the correct order. But I do know I'm going to want some alcohol in here when I go to lay that plate in there. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some alcohol in here for cleaning purposes. Then I'll put alcohol in here in this basket once we figure out, what's going on. Some of my parts are going to be so small they're going to fall through this basket. So I'm definitely going to leave them, or try to leave them on the flex plate the whole time they're being cleaned, because they're going to fall through and they get in the impellers. Inside the cleaning basket you have a little spinner that's magnetically coupled to the base. Like I say, I got this anti-cubic cleaning station. It's like $109 on Amazon, $120 if you wanted it with a little bottle of resin, which I did. I paid about $20 for this silicone rubber mat to contain everything. I paid about $25 for this gallon of 99% isopropyl alcohol. This funnel that I'm going to be using to put the resin back in the bottle and filter it. This was $4 or $5. It wasn't very expensive. It looked for the cheapest one on Amazon. And again, the Sonic Mini 8K, the Phrozen, was a gift from Ozzy's Robots on YouTube. The rest of the stuff I purchased with money that I'd gotten from a Daniel P, you know your last name, I don't know if you want to give it out. About 1.5 years ago, he was funding, he thought he was going to help me work towards getting a resin printer, because there were all kinds of them back then coming out. If you got the early bird, you can get them really cheap, and they always sold out within seconds. I was never able to get one. And so I just hung on to the money, which then I used to get all this other stuff, the mat, the cleaning station, the alcohol, all the little added things that you need to do this sort of thing. So, what do I want to do first? I really don't know. I guess if I took this over this vat, like so, I'll take it off this 3D printed piece. Maybe I could just initially clean off some of the resin so it isn't going to drip and get on anything. Using this chip brush and just alcohol here. It seems to come off pretty easy this way. A lot more on the build plate. Now all the parts appear to be here. There were 12 small parts, ratchet wheels and the ratchet prawls. These are going to go on the bottom of a robot project I'm working on. I'm going to be making 2 of them. So that's why there's so many wheels and stuff. Doesn't look too bad. I think I just Now if they don't come off, good, they stayed on there. Set that in here. That means I should be able to take this whole flex plate apart and maybe just set it in the basket. Not sure in the best orientation. Set that down in the cleaner. Go ahead and put some alcohol in here. Hopefully I got enough to be able to cover up to the top. So I took a lot of the resin off before I put it in here because I want to keep this as my cleaning vat, obviously. Okay. Plenty of alcohol. And we don't want to smell it, so let's go ahead and put the lid on it. And on here you've got a choice between wash and cure. It's in the wash mode now. I have no idea how long you need to wash something for. The little fan is spinning down there. It's made some noises. Let's get over to this vat. Let's finish cleaning this guy up. So this dark side, you can see this is the magnetic piece that I stuck to the bottom of the build plate. And I'm going to move this alcohol. Grab this paper towel. This looks pretty clean. I think it wasn't hard at all to clean up. It was no big deal. I think just as a place to put this, I'm going to set it back on the machine. The Anycubic's making noises as it's reversing the spinner and the fan. Timer's counting down. I only put in 3 minutes. I honestly have no idea how long something like that needs to be in there. I'm going to cover this for now because I want to try putting the resin back in the bottle just to see how hard or how messy or anything like that it might be. Okay, so that fit pretty good. Even if these strainers don't work, that funnel seems to fit well. All right. Now I'm unscrewing the 2 screws that hold the vat down. They come completely out on the Phrozen. Got the vat lifted up. I guess any of the corners could be used for pouring. We'll see how this goes. I know the resin's thick. Of course, the filter wants to tip over. I don't really have anyone here to help me hold this. There, I got it now. I don't know if I'm blocking the camera view completely, but basically I'm just pouring the resin from the corner through the filter, through the funnel, and back into the bottle. Because that way it can clean the tank out to make sure if there was any failed part of the print, it won't be in the vat, because if you leave anything down there that got cured that failed, the next time you go to print and the build plate comes down, it's going to poke a hole through the FET and quite possibly crack your display screen. It says it's done cleaning over here, but since I'm not here, I'm just going to put some more time on it. Help it go again. You might as well keep going while we're finishing up, right? Okay, why not try this little plastic spatula thing they give you? See if I can scrape more of the resin out of here. The more I put back in the bottle, the less I'm going to have to clean up with alcohol. Like so. That's not bad. You see now I should have just left the lid off this thing. All right. That's sitting there, that's good. This paper filter thing is supposed to be disposable, although I can't think of any reason why I couldn't clean it with alcohol. We can try just to see what happens. So my parts to be cleaned are all sitting back there in that one plastic tub you saw me use earlier. And here we have everything back in the bottle, and didn't drip any resin on it anywhere. So we'll set that off to the side. I'm surprised how I'll clean that one. I had 3 drips on the silicone rubber thing, which I paper toweled up. Let's bring this back to the front here. And you know what? Put that down in there. Can't think of any reason to save this filter. They sent me hundreds, so no reason to do that. So, doesn't seem to be too hard to clean any of these things out. Put that there. We can come back and clean this up later. Let's move on to this part. Stop on that. Set this again, and here's a handy place to set stuff. And let's just cap that on. So far, no mess. Still early though, I guess, huh? Put the clear platform on there. Now let's find out about flexing these parts off, like they were saying, the whole point of the flex plate. By the way, the parts look really good. Place to pop them if they come off. Okay, they're not flying off on their own. Well, some of them are. Oh yeah, they actually do just lift right off the flex plate. I'm setting them on the lid to this vat. I didn't know what kind of a mess we'd be talking about. Here's the flex plate. Paid $14 for the flex plate. That comes with the magnet and the plate. Like I say, it was oversized, so I had to cut it down. Basically, I left this tab that was on there, and it's just a stainless steel plate that flexes. So I'm going to stick that on there so that's out of the way. See a little bit of resin here. And that's all nice and clean. So this is where they were talking about using an air gun, I guess, to get all of the alcohol off. Don't know. I didn't think far enough ahead to get that air compressor that I have for my. We should finish this up. I mean, all I'm going to end up doing is putting those parts in the ultraviolet and letting it clean. There was the popping sound everyone says that you hear as this thing was printing, but not all the time. I was in the other room and I heard some snapping going on, which I'd never heard before, so I came in here and every time it was lifting you would hear this loud pop, and then that kind of went away. didn't do it all the time. It was doing it more at the beginning and more near the end. I think it has to do with the size of the part more than anything else. Okay. I'd like to set this out dry. You know what, I'm going to get a clean paper towel. Get a clean paper towel on this thing and really finish it up. Because you do want this clean. For the next time you go to print, you'll damage it, or the light won't shine through and the parts won't turn out right. I'm going to set that back in place so I don't damage it. And put the top on here. Okay. Let's take a look at these parts again. I'm going to see if there's any more of the loose resin that I could get off of them. You know, it might be a good idea just to set them on a paper towel. That might help absorb any of the alcohol or anything that's left on them. Here's one of the little parts. You can see it's a ratchet crawl on a wheel, and then these grooves, I snap in rubber O-rings to form the tires. They look really good. I'll stick a micrometer on them and see how it really turned out here in a minute, or after they're cured all the way. I have no idea how long I'm supposed to put them into cure. I don't know. I don't know if there's an average time or not. Here's what one of the prawls looks like. I can do it without dropping it on the floor. Looks like they came off perfect. Oops. Dropped one in the bucket. Can't see it. The water is so gray. Not water, the alcohol. Gray parts and gray alcohol. I know it's down in there though. Okay, let's see if we can find it. There it is. And got it. Okay. Clean this lid off. Let me get that air compressor and blow those parts off. So basically it's just a little air pump, DC power brick. If I can find power. That could be the problem. Can't unplug that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's just get them on the plate. You have to have the cover on for this thing to run. It has an optical sensor in the back, and if the cover's not on and facing the right way, it won't turn on. So now I'll select cure. Actually, I don't know how long. I'll put it in for 5. Oh, hopefully it'll stay on there. Well, not bad. I mean, I got there was 3 drips of resin on the mat, and everything else has just been alcohol cleanup. Not bad at all. At this point, I don't think I need the gloves for anything. When they come out, the parts should be all cured. This particular project, I didn't need the snips. Didn't need the metal spatula. Did use this, but I probably could have got away without it since the chip brush was doing most everything I needed to do. I don't really like these kind of blue gloves. They fit so tight. I've got some ones out in the shop that fit looser. So hard to get on and then pull off again. But it's not a bad idea to have something sitting there in case you end up needing it, rather than going and hunting for it. That air compressor was a good example of that. I should have already had it sitting out and plugged in and ready to go. So this cleaned out really well, as you can see, with the alcohol, and no problems there. And chip brush is probably best just to let air dry, because there's really nothing on that but alcohol at this point. Right. Shut this down. I guess I could put the screws back in the tray. Maybe now that I got my gloves off and everything clean, I'll take another look at the tray and see if it's really cleaned up and good enough. Don't see any resin left anywhere. It does look a little foggier. I can just barely see an imprint of the round parts that were made, so they do leave a mark on there. I'm going to get one more piece of paper towel and just see if that'll clean up anymore. Don't really see any difference. Got a little bit of alcohol in the spray bottle here. Just to see if that makes any difference. I have heard of people that put a treatment on here. I can't remember what it was. Was it a Teflon spray or something? So that the parts don't stick to these this membrane so much. Kind of maybe see those marks if I get the lighting just right. Must have been when it really was pulling back. Okay, that's about as clean as I'm going to be able to get it. Put that on there. Basically, I'd say the machine looks like new. Came through with flying colors, as it were. First print being completely successful. Get you a little closer view of what's going on over here. So you can see the parts are spinning around and under that UV light. Say I don't have any complaints with the quality, and it certainly was a lot faster than doing it on the 3D printer. In the 3D printer, every one of the parts would add more time to it, so each one of those little sprocket wheels is about 22 minutes or so on the FDM printer. So it would have been many hours. Let's just see how they feel. You see where there was still a little bit of alcohol on that. So what I might do is just flip these puppies over. They don't feel sticky though. That should have been enough, but I'm figuring, what the hell. Flip them over and give them a little bit more on the other side. But you can see what the parts look like while they're in there. There's really no point in continuing any further with this. This first print job was quite successful. The parts look excellent. There's no layer lines or anything. They look like injection molded parts to see them in person. Got your countdown. Here's where the LED, see it's, the cure one is on now. Before I had the wash one on, so that's all this switch does is select wash or cure. Sets the time, push in to activate it. Seems like a really good wash cure station for 109 bucks. And as I say right now, I've got no complaints on the Sonic Mini 8K. I'm really not quite sure why they call it the Mini. Its build plate area is larger than most of the other resin printers. I mean, there's bigger ones out there, obviously, but not in the 8K range. So, first test successful. Hope you enjoyed.